righty, here we go. Live in Los Angeles. This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, we're on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and right here on FS1. Having an unbelievable year, by the way. Don't mean to brag. I think we're up like 25, 30% again this year. Thanks to all of you who watch. We are growing like crazy, and you're a huge part of that. Joy Taylor is joining me. You know who we have in 5 minutes here? Like, you know, the defensive line for the Niners we've been talking about all year, it's just unbelievable. It's the
they're pretty good.
Best young defensive line. That's what I love about them, is they're all young kids. They're all going to get paid. They're all fantastic. DeForest Buckner played at Oregon. Now he's part of that Niner defensive front. By the way, it's easy for us to root for the Niners. We're not supposed to root, but we know John Lynch because he used to work at Fox. He's the GM of the Niners, and I covered him in Tampa years ago. He was a player.
And I just think the 49ers are just one of those like, legacy teams that it's very hard to root against them no matter what.
Yeah,
like the NFL's better when the 49ers are rolling.
They're a Packers. The league's better when the 49ers are good, and they have a ton of great young defensive players, 25 and under, and defensive tackle DeForest Buckner is one of them. Again, played at Oregon. He'll be joining us today. But first, I don't get emotional that often. I'm kind of fired up about this. We got to start with what happened last night. It kind of grossed me out, to be honest, because I love football so much. In Cleveland, breaking news from this morning, the Browns' Myles Garrett has been suspended indefinitely. Stop defending Myles Garrett. Ohio, get off the internet. You've embarrassed yourself long enough in the league for your play. You're embarrassing yourself for defending Myles Garrett. If I jumped you in a bar and then 7 seconds later hit you over the head with a beer bottle, in those 7 seconds when I'm on top of you, you have a right to grab me wherever you want and swing wildly to defend yourself. Mason Rudolph was illegally attacked, a penalty, and then a guy 30 pounds heavier than him jumps on top of it. Myles Rudolph can do whatever the hell he wants for those 7 seconds between getting hit illegally, penalty, and getting hit over the head with a helmet. It's called self-defense. Okay, you knock me down and get on me and you're 40 pounds heavier, I'll scratch, claw, grab any part of you I want. That's called self-defense. That is a right in America, a judicial right. Forget sports. Stop it. This is 100% on Myles Garrett. You know what this is in baseball? This would be, I'm a pitcher, I throw at you, hit you, rush to the plate, grab the bat, and hit you over the fence. And you're making the pitcher the victim. No. Mason Rudolph has a right to self-defense as a 40-pound man heavier. 40 pounds heavier is attacking him. I mean, Myles Garrett's one of the NFL leaders in late hits and penalties. You don't know if the guy's wired right. After he throws the helmet, he's not. So this is 100% on Myles Garrett. A lot of foreshadowing in that game last night. 5 or 6 helmet-on-helmet hits by the Browns. That was very much Buddy Ryan in the 90s. That was very much Greg Williams. That was very much a message and a plan going into that game by Cleveland. That's called foreshadowing. The clues throughout the game. Now, Myles Garrett, because all through the game you're like, are these incidental helmet-on-helmet hits? These look, and then you watch that, the late hit on Mason in the helmet, foreshadowing. This was a game plan. Now, Freddie Kitchens got very defensive about that. What do people get defensive about when they're guilty? They get very defensive. Here's Freddie Kitchens, Cleveland's coach, after the game on that.
I never okayed fights. Did you say that? Did you say I okayed fights? I never okayed fights. Did I want them to get after their ass? Yes, I did. But that's not fighting. That's not after the whistle. But that's between the whistles, yes. I never condoned fighting on a football field because that's penalties. I don't coach penalties. I don't coach false starts. I don't coach after the whistle grabbing somebody's face mask. I don't coach that.
Yeah, either Greg Williams or Buddy Ryan, but there's messages dads and coaches can send, and there was clearly last night, they're coming to our place, multiple helmet-on-helmet hits, a Steeler bleeding from the ears, then the tackle late in the game on Mason Rudolph, game no longer in doubt, then the helmet. Freddie, nobody thinks you went in there and said, grab a helmet and hit Mason Rudolph. You don't have to, but there's a culpability and a responsibility as a head coach to, as an older man teaching younger men, words matter. And the messaging was clear last night from the opening kickoff. Be dirty and cheap. The third thing is, if Cleveland would have lost last night, Freddie Kitchens would be fired today because GM John Dorsey wants to fire him to save Baker Mayfield, who he should never have taken with the number 1 pick, and the owner, Jimmy Haslam, wants to fire him, and maybe John Dorsey. But because Cleveland won, 2-game winning streak, chance to make the playoffs, I don't think so, but many do, they won't fire him. But Cleveland does now have an out. They can be martyrs. Freddie Kitchens is done. It doesn't matter what happens. Freddie Kitchens is done. First of all, they're not getting to the playoffs. They're not beating Baltimore. I don't think they're going to Arizona beating them. They're a mess. But now they can go, this was outrageous. John Dorsey can go, this is outrageous. This is an embarrassment to the organization. We do not teach that Freddie Kitchens must go. They would do that today if they lost. They would do it today. They'd have an out. They could be martyrs. But it's Cleveland, low self-esteem. I mean, listen, they're 2 games below 500 this morning, and they're all thinking they made the playoffs already. That's Cleveland in a nutshell. Pittsburgh this morning's, a 500 team, and they think we got to get our stuff together. You wake up this morning, Pittsburgh's still ahead of Cleveland. Cleveland's already, planning a parade for the playoffs. But Freddie Kitchens would be fired this morning if they lost the game. Because they want him out. Everybody knows they want him out, but Cleveland knows their reputation, the optics are horrible. They don't want to fire another coach after a Steeler game in the season, so they won't fire him. But now they have the out to fire him. By the way, there's going to, in the NFL, they're going to keep looking at this tape over and over and over and over. So in the next 24 to 36 hours, the NFL is going to hand out more fines because initially you watch it on TV. It's bad for the NFL. NFL doesn't want this. NFL is trying to make the game safer for the players. We say this all the time. You got all these great young players. Protect them. I want these guys hurt. I want to watch the great players. I want to watch Tom Brady play till he's 50. I want to watch Jimmy Garoppolo play forever. I want these guys hurt. So this is bad optics, bad imaging. They're going to scour this tape. I do think Mason Rudolph, the quarterback, will be fined. But I think the NFL is sending a message. Don't mess with our quarterbacks. Look at San Francisco last year. Okay, Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt. It's one team. Garoppolo's back. What is he, 16-3 as a starter? That doesn't mean other players don't have value, but this league is so much about quarterbacks, and the league is telling you attack a quarterback, you're out indefinitely. Quarterback, here's a little fine. And I want to segue to one of the great young players in the NFL. One of these guys we hope plays for a long time. They're a great story. They just came off one of the crazy. I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I love Russell Wilson, and I've been watching him do this for 5 years. It was one of the craziest games I've ever seen. Via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network, DeForest Buckner is joining us from the 49ers, Pro Bowl defensive tackle. First of all, thank you very much. The best-looking hoodie in the league right there, the San Francisco 49ers. You're watching that. I imagine you saw some of the highlights of Myles Garrett. Were you shocked? I know football's a violent game, but were you shocked?
Yeah, I was definitely shocked. I was watching the game early on, and, as it was getting towards the fourth quarter, I kind of turned it off. But I saw the videos after. I was pretty shocked when his reaction and how he handled all of that.
DeForest, it's a violent game. It's tough. Defensive lineman like yourself, It is a really hard position. You are in hand-to-hand combat for 3 hours. And I get it. It's, a wide receiver, you can't touch him. A quarterback, you can't touch him. You guys are in a wrestling match for 4 hours. Is it easier? Not to say what Myles Garrett did is acceptable, but have you lost your temper? Is it sometimes hard to stay under control?
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely lost my temper my rookie year. I got a personal foul, and I learned from it. You just, in this game, you can't let your emotions get the best of you, and that's unfortunate what happened with Myles Garrett, and he let his emotions get the best of him, and you guys saw the result. What
do you do? How did you do it? Why didn't it happen to you anymore? How did you change?
It's just a bad look. You're a professional. I want to, it was out of character by me, and, it hurts me, hurts my team, especially. And, you saw the results. He's suspended indefinitely. That definitely hurts his team. He's their best player. and supposed to be one of the leaders on the team, and that's not how you want to lead your guys.
By the way, you are one of the leaders of the 49ers. It's an interesting team where it's not just the quarterback, but Jimmy G's obviously very good. You face Arizona this week, Kyler Murray. You just faced Russell Wilson. The league's changing. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson. As a defensive tackle, I would imagine you lose sleep when you've got to face a Russell Wilson or a Kyler Murray. Does it change how you have to prepare or play that week?
No, definitely. As a unit up front, when you're rushing the passer, you guys got to work together, and especially with mobile quarterbacks like you just named, with Kyler Murray, the Russells, even Aaron Rodgers. You have to know where you are in your rush, and you can't get too high in your rush or any of that, because they can find those those lanes that open up and extend plays.
Yeah. I mean, you have faced Russell before, and now it's Kyler Murray. When you look at tape of Kyler Murray, who you'll face this week, does it look like Russell Wilson? Are you watching a slightly shorter version?
Yeah, bro, pretty much. I mean, obviously Russ has done it a long time, and he's this young kid coming in, and he definitely shows glimpses of like Russell Wilson type moves, and spinning out of the pocket and extending plays with his arm. I mean, kid has a cannon. We faced him, on Thursday Night Football 2 weeks ago, and he showed us what he could do. And as a defensive unit, it wasn't our best game, and we were definitely looking forward to this one.
Nick Bosa comes in, college guy, shows up, and he is great day one. Go back to when Nick Bosa showed up. Were you shocked by how good he was? Did you know instantly? Could you spot it at practice? Like, when was the moment you're like, okay, dude can play?
No, just watching some film on him. Looking at some Ohio State tape and everything, as the draft process was going on, and I heard he's one of the guys that we were looking for, and that was the guy I wanted, from the start to come and help us up front, and just seeing him throughout OTAs, training camp, the way he was moving, you could tell he was rusty at first because but he hasn't played in a year and a half of football, and as soon as he got back rolling, it's crazy what he can do. Sky's the limit with him. He's definitely going to be a great one for a long time.
Kyle Shanahan's known as an offensive guru, a genius. Is Shanahan ever show up in the defensive meetings, or is it pretty much you guys? You got your defensive coordinator, the guy on the sidelines with a high energy who looks like he's crazy, or does Shanahan duck into the defensive meetings sometimes, or is it you guys are on your own?
No, we're on our own, but he does. He addresses the whole team in our team meetings, and you can kind of see he's picking apart certain plays and showing us the different looks on the different defenses that are shown to him, and against our offense and things like that. And it's pretty cool to hear him talk and kind of show everybody what's going on in his mind.
When you guys were undefeated, it's a weird, because most teams are not undefeated to mid-November in the NFL, and you'd been in close games. Yeah. The minute you lose to Seattle, was there okay, we're not going 16-0 here. What was the locker room like after losing your first game?
No, yeah, it was quiet. That was a tough one. The guys fought to the very last second, with the field goal that they made. And I was just very proud of the entire team. We battled throughout the whole game. There was ups and downs. You guys saw it. It was a very tight game, division game. And, we all learned from it. We came in the next day. We watched the film as a team, and, just the little things the one or two plays that we, each and every one of us, could have made to change the end result. It is what it is, and the guys learned from it, and we're pumped up and ready to move on.
Finally, DeForest Buckner, 49er Pro Bowl defensive tackle. What's interesting, Urban Meyer's a friend of mine. He always says this. He goes, I like my football players to play other sports. You were a great high school basketball player, were you not? You were like the Gatorade.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, you were the Hawaii basketball Gatorade player of the year. So there was a moment in your life that you could have chosen basketball. Why choose football? Practice is harder. You play outdoors. You get hurt. Why football over basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I just love it. I mean, it's the greatest team sport there is. And, you know, honestly, growing up, I had a lot of family members that played it. You know, a lot of my uncles played it, and it's just, I mean, it's in my blood, man.
What kind of basketball?
It's the biggest sport in Hawaii.
Yeah, it is by far away the biggest sport in Hawaii. What kind of basketball player were you? Mm-hmm. Did you have a little Kawhi? Well, were you a little Anthony Davis? What was your game like?
No. I was more like what I would say. Kevin Garnett.
Okay, tall.
Yeah.
Shoot a little bit. Okay. DeForest Buckner, San Francisco 49ers. Appreciate you stopping by the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, Colin.
Yeah. Bosa, him, Solomon Thomas, Armstead. That is Robert Saleh's the defensive coordinator. He's a bald guy who's like going 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, he has a hold me back guy.
He has his own, what's that?
He has his own hold me back guy.
Yeah, get back guy. Yeah, he's a little tightly wound, but that's okay.
I think he brings he's fun to watch. I mean, obviously, I know that's not my brother, but I've caught myself on several occasions like, what is Jason doing? Like, he looks so much like my brother for like a quick flash. I don't know if Jason would appreciate that, but like he does though.
Handsome guy, no question about it. Good stuff today. TJ Hushmanzada's coming up around the corner. The AFC North just got very interesting. Mm-hmm. I think last night showed us one thing. Cleveland and Pittsburgh aren't very good, and this is Baltimore's division. That was my takeaway on last night. I don't think Cleveland's a playoff team. I don't think Pittsburgh is, although I have unbelievable respect for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think there's a massive limitation at quarterback. Now they've got receivers banged up. November's the time of the year in football where you can say, check, that team's out. Rams last week can't block, out. Bears 2 weeks ago couldn't get the first down in the first half. They had one against Philly. Check, you're out. I think Cleveland is too dysfunctional. I think their schedule's tough. They won't have Myles Garrett. They're undisciplined. And I think they're over their skis at head coach. And I think Pittsburgh's got a quarterback issue and a wide receiver, running back banged up issue. Think season's over for both teams. And I think more than ever, I mean, if Baltimore wins this weekend, we know it's Baltimore's division. That's not up for debate. It's Baltimore's going to win the division. The question is Steelers, Browns, can they scrape it, get over Buffalo? Don't kid yourself. The record this morning for Cleveland is 4-6. It's not 6-4. Of the 12 teams vying for the playoffs in the AFC, Cleveland's got the worst record. So let's and they still have to play maybe the best team, Baltimore. And I think Miami and at Arizona are tough outs, and they're going back to Pittsburgh without Myles Garrett. When you're driving, the last thing you want, visibility issues. Nobody says in the middle of a storm, wow, I'm glad I went cheap. I'm glad I got second-class wipers. Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades. They were good, but they wanted to test them and push them to the limit. So they found a driver, Rainer Zietlow, to make a 16,000-mile world record-breaking drive, Alaska to Argentina. They went rainforest, tundra, the desert, unpredictable conditions, rain, sleet, snow. Yes, I'm pretty confident these will get you to the grocery store or the mall. Crafted with advanced quad-tech 4-layer coated silicone that repels water, snow, and ice and lasts 2 times longer than the other blades. The new Michelin blades are real-world proven for extreme weather performance, which outside of Florida and California, you're going to get for the next 3.5 to 4 months. Upgrade to the Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades today, only available at Walmart.